everyone. My name is Isaac Arthur, and I'm a co-founder here at CODO Design in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I want to welcome you back to our series where we're diving into some of the topics, chapter, and theory from our new book, Craft Beer Rebranded. Head over to craftbeerrebranded.com, grab your own 2-book bundle, and learn how to navigate each step of your brewery's rebrand. If you are tasked with selling more beer or building a brewery brand, we think you're going to find this valuable. Check it out at craftbeerrebranded.com. Commercial's over. So, for the last few videos, we've discussed how to find and hire the perfect design firm for your rebrand. And before those videos, we also covered how to set your project goals, organize your internal project team, and weigh your brand equity, and frame your brand strategy. So we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go still. What happens next is the task of pulling all of this together, all of this foundational strategic work to develop your new brand identity, packaging, website, environmental, and beyond. It's this important leap between logic and magic that now has to happen. And so we were initially going to make this video about 30 seconds long and just say something glib like miracle happens, the design phase, but that doesn't actually help you very much at all. So dealing with the particulars of the identity and packaging and web design process is outside of the scope of Craft Beer Rebranded. You could check out our first book, Craft Beer Branding Guide, craftbeerbrandingguide.com if you want some more details on that. But instead, we can offer the following thoughts on what to expect during this leg of the project, the role you should expect to play in it, and how you can become the best client your design firm has ever had. So how can you be an amazing client? The first point that I want to cover is I want you to give your design firm room to work. As mentioned throughout this series, the design firm that you hire will take you through their own design process, and everything you're framing throughout the Craft Beer Rebranded book and workbook in particular will provide the foundational research and legwork that they need to help you revamp your brand. Now, this is not a replacement, the workbook specifically is not a replacement for your design firm's process. You need to give them room to run the project as they see fit and listen to them. Remember that whatever they are doing has worked for other clients, or you probably wouldn't have hired them in the first place. Yes, you're working through a brand strategy in the Craft Beer Rebranded workbook, but again, this isn't a replacement for what your design partner brings to the table. It is, however, extremely useful for them to have this at the start of the project. If a brewery rolled up to us for a rebrand with this packet, this workbook filled out, I would be super excited. It makes our job easier. So anyway, do that. The second thing that you can do to be a great client is to trust your design partner. Now, let me back up a second. If your design partner ever uses the words trust us in a presentation, then you should not, in fact, trust them. That's lazy and does nothing to instill confidence or illustrate their expertise. If they are proposing an idea, they need, the design firm, anyone that's proposing a creative direction to you, needs to back that idea up with research and a solid rationale. So again, if your design partner ever says, trust us, it's going to be great, your next move should be to get them into a good solid rear naked choke. Really sink that thing in. Wait till they're unconscious. Drag them out of your office and leave them by the curb where they belong. So do that. Anyway, back to trust. If your design partner does back up their design decisions with solid rationale, they map everything back to the project's positioning and messaging goals, then you should trust them, and you should be willing to listen to all the ideas that they bring to the table. You need to be open to being uncomfortable. You want your design firm to push you, not unnecessarily beyond the context of the project brief or goals, but the design firm should and will generally be championing work that will help you improve your business and sell more beer. That's why we're all here. So think back to our video on goal setting, a couple videos ago now, and remember that all of your goals should support and work towards that overarching state of increasing beer sales. Both you and your design firm should have the same goal, which is, again, to grow your business, but you are more likely to have emotional ties to your brewery in addition to, obviously, your financial investment. So feeling nervous during this process is normal. You are, after all, spending a whole lot of money and time on something that is extremely important. And so I want you to lean into your design firm. You need to work with them to create great work together. The next point is to understand that the design process is highly iterative. We found people who've never worked with a design firm, they kind of expect this big Don Draper reveal during that first branding presentation. So, think about picture after several weeks of working on your brand strategy, you step into a well-appointed conference room and you're presented with a glass of bourbon. It's 10 a.m., cool, whatever. You settle into a $4,000 Eames chair. You prepare to be wowed. Someone offers you a cigarette. That's cool. A well-dressed, slick-looking account man goes into a long preamble about consumer mindshare this and brand equity that. Then they share the work. And upon seeing your new logo, you're so overcome with joy. You're so verklempt that you begin to weep and frantically reach for your checkbook to pay them every penny they deserve. Everyone profits, and the world is better for it. You smoke your cigarette, you down your bourbon, you head back to your day, and scene. It doesn't work this way. Most design projects follow the same basic structure. You have onboarding, research and brand strategy to develop the creative brief. You have concept exploration, initial sketching, the design and executional phase, followed by revising, finalizing, and launching everything. Web design and development has its own particular process, but it generally falls along the same path. I say all that to say that if you're not completely over the moon after your firm's first presentation, let's say that first time you're looking at branding or packaging options, that's okay, because there's still work to do. Your firm should not only be willing to hear your feedback, but also encourage it before they move forward. And on the other side of this, even if you are completely happy and ready to sign off on whatever they've shown right now, any design firm worth its salt is going to make some refinements, have some ideas that they want to make better before everything launches. So keep that in mind. Okay, on that note, let's take a minute to discuss how to give great feedback, because this is something that designers we always get upset about, and I think it's because we take for granted that our clients don't critique visual work on a daily basis, and then we get frustrated when we receive unhelpful feedback. So here are some general guidelines to help make sure that you are providing constructive, relevant feedback that will help keep the project moving forward, saving time, money, and heartache. Okay, the first tip, I want you to be specific, but don't micromanage. An example here, some bad feedback, I should say, would be, it needs to pop more. That's terrific. So some great feedback could actually be, the colors might be a bit muted for our young audience. A brighter color scheme might appeal to them and be more on brand. If you turn to page 2 of the creative brief that you design firm developed, you'll see what I'm talking about. You don't have to be that eloquent, but you can see how by being more specific and mapping it to the project goals, we are now staying constructive and helpful. This isn't about hurting feelings. This is about making sure that we can move forward and solve the problem that we're all here to solve. So anyway, the next tip is to keep feedback focused on specific goals and not personal taste. This is a big one. Nothing is more frustrating than when a client gives feedback that does not tie to the project goals. The context and brief that you've spent months framing now. It's like saying, I like turtles, when asked how a six-pack carrier looks compared to the rest of your competitive set. It makes less than 0 sense. So some more bad feedback. That could be, I don't like purple. Why did you idiots make my logo purple? Great feedback would be, I'm not sure that purple is the best choice for achieving our goal of positioning ourselves as the outdoorsy beer brand in Wyoming, because it seems too fancy. That's perfect feedback. And your logo should not be purple, probably. Big Wyoming brewery. Anyway, don't forget those customer personas that we discussed a few videos back as well. You keep those on hand so that you can think about how a specific person would receive a certain design direction. This will help get out of your own head and make decisions using empathy for all of your customers. The final tip, one more tip here. We want you to tell your design firm when something is not working, but don't tell them how to fix it. If you're not enjoying or digging something that you're being presented, tell your design firm what isn't sitting right and why it isn't quite there yet. Again, in terms of the project goals and customer personas. However, what you should not do is try to tell them how to fix it. You're paying them for this. You've hired them. They are experts. You're probably paying them handsomely. Let them earn that money and figure it out with you and for you. You should, however, be involved in the process, but realize that you have hired experts. You wouldn't tell your doctor how to operate on your knee. Don't tell a guy with 10 years of branding experience how to tweak a typeface that they're proposing for your logo. This is their stock and trade. Food for thought. I won't tell you how to improve your IPA recipe. So, assuming they have solid rationale for their design decisions, you should listen to them. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up before I start ranting anymore. In our next video, in our final video, this is the penultimate video here. In our final video, guys, we did it. We're going to be discussing how and when to start promoting your rebrand and how to actually launch this thing. Head over to craftbeerrebranded.com, buy your 2-book bundle. You've heard that 6,000 times by now in this series, but check it out, and we will be back with you guys with the final video soon. Cheers.